Welcome back. This is part 2 of activity 1.3.3, constraining a sketch. So the last step that we completed in the previous video was uh, step number 8. So now what we're going to start is we're going to skip question number 9 and we're going to do 10. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a sketch similar to the one that is showing in here. Okay? So and we're gonna see how can we review the constraints on a sketch once it's completed. So I'm gonna start with a line right here, and then I'm gonna do the right side, and then the diagonal, this vertical line, horizontal line, and again vertical, diagonal, horizontal, and then I'm gonna close it. So it doesn't look exactly the same, but anyway, for the purpose of this, um, we're going to do something similar. So we're going to review the constraints that were automatically applied as you sketch. So as you can see here, all the constraints applied are shown. How did I do that? Well, if you press F8 on your keyboard, F8 allows you to see all the constraints applied, and F9 will remove them. So I'm going to leave the F8 on. So let's see which constraints are were automatically applied. So we have these two constraints. This one is perpendicular. This one is parallel. That one right there is parallel. Perpendicular, parallel, perpendicular, 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 and horizontal constraint. So those are the constraints that were applied. So for 12, for step number 12, what you're going to do is you're going to answer this on your engineering notebook. This is kind of a sample, okay? Number 13, investigate how the constraints affect the sketch behavior by selecting individual lines and points and dragging each using your mouse. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start dragging lines. I drag this one. I'm going to undo. So it allows me to drag it up and down, undo. I'm going to move this one. Oops, right here. So I can move it only right and left. I'm going to undo. This one also, I can move it up. And when I do that, the one on the left also moves. Okay, so I can drag it down too. So this side also moves. Then I gonna start sliding this one. I can drag it to the 45 degrees up, 45 degrees down, undo, undo. Let's see this one, what happens if I drag it. Okay, that's the only thing that it does. It doesn't go up or down. It only stays there. I'm gonna undo. This one, up or down. And I cannot move it only up and down. Okay, undo. Let's see this one. I think it's gonna behave the same way the right side did. Undo. The same. Undo. All right. So I need to do also the points. Let's see. I'm gonna drag this point. And I cannot drag these 2 points or this one or this one. Let me get closer. Nope, it doesn't let me. Or this one. or this. So basically, none of the points where I was able to move. All right. Now, we already did the investigation. The next thing is we're going to remove a few of the constraints one at a time and observe how the sketch behavior changes when you drag sketch elements. All right. So I'm going to erase this one. How can I do it? Well, you just click, right click, delete. All right. So let's see what happens. Let's see if with that I can move. But this one is dragging this one too. Undo. This one. But basically I can do the same thing. I cannot move the points neither. So I'm gonna what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna erase all of them. Delete, delete, click, right click, delete, click, right click, delete, click, right click. Continue doing it. I'm gonna delete all those constraints right here. There's two constraints. Delete, delete. Okay, so once all the constraints are deleted, I need to keep moving, removing constraints. Well, I think if I press 8 several times, it is not showing anything. All right, so all constraints were removed. So let's see what happens if I start moving elements around. So actually, I can drag and it won't affect the rest. You see? Imagine that constraints are like glue to put together a sketch, and without glue is like just having each single element inserted but not fixed on the sketch. All right, so I already did that, and I'm gonna do step number 15, which is discard your previous sketch. So we're gonna erase it. And we're gonna begin a new sketch to create a similar shape using lines and program suggest constraints. So I'm gonna highlight this and I'm gonna delete it. All right. So we're gonna start again, and we're gonna start in is question number 16A. So line 1, place a line on the x-axis like this, shown on the here in the picture. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a line that is gonna be on the x-axis. All right. Allowing the software to suggest a horizontal constraint and automatic constraint the line. So as you can see, this symbol will show up as the one that you see here, right here. Okay. Line 2. Create a new line coincident with the left endpoint of the first line. This is the endpoint of the first line, this point right here. So it's gonna be coincident and it's gonna be perpendicular to this line. Okay, so we're gonna select line 2 right here. Click on the existing left endpoint of the first line, which is this one. Slowly move the cursor left and right as you move it upwards. So like this. Okay. Place the cursor so that the perpendicular indicator is displayed and click a perpendicular constraint should automatically replace the small square at the intersection. So you see the little rectangle under 90 degrees, so that means that is a um, vertical constraint. All right, but they want it to be perpendicular. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna click. I'm gonna continue. So right now, the one that actually appeared was the horizontal vertical constraint. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see, perpendicular. Okay, so I can erase it, and then I can do perpendicular. These two perpendicular. So now we can have the same as the sketch right here, perpendicularity. All right, line 3. Using a similar approach, add a third line that is perpendicular to the second in a similar way. All right, so I'm going to do line. It keeps giving me the horizontal constraint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click to insert the line, right click, OK. I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to insert perpendicular constraint. All right, so we can have we keep along with the exercise right here. Add the diagonal line by selecting the last endpoint and moving the cursor up and to the right to place the second endpoint. All right, so we're gonna do this. It seems like something like this. Right click, OK. Line 5. As you create this line, create a perpendicular constraint with line 3. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So I'm gonna add a line right here, like this, and then I do that perpendicular constraint. This is line 5, and this is line 3. So now those two are perpendicular. Line 6. As you create this line, avoid an automatic constraint by placing the line slightly off horizontal, which means a little bit crooked. So I'm going to insert a line right here, a little bit crooked. And we're going to apply the horizontal constraint. Oh no, it says we're going to insert another one, line 7. From here, here, and then line 8, enforce a perpendicular constraint with line 4. So I'm going to do this line here, a little bit different. I'm going to do this side, then I'm going to close it. And I'm going to apply these constraints. So 5 and 7, they have to be parallel. So parallel, this one with this one. It says that it will over constrain the sketch. All right, so because the reason why is because we have this constraint, like automatically it keeps adding those horizontal or vertical constraints. So I'm gonna delete that, and then I'm gonna apply the parallel constraint. These two. Okay, they are parallel now. Also, line 7 will be parallel to line 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Well, we already did that, and force a perpendicular constraint with line 4. So line 8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I want this one parallel to line 3. 1, 2, 3. So let's see. line 8 and 4s. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it must be perpendicular with line 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Perpendicular. I don't think they can be perpendicular. Or yeah. So these two are perpendicular now. If you think about it, we can extend this line and they will be perpendicular. Okay. Line 9, it will be parallel with line 3. Okay, so parallel this line with this line. Okay, let's see what other I need to erase this constraint. That's why it's not letting me. Parallel, parallel. Now they are parallel. And finish sketch. So as you can see, we have perpendicular here, and then perpendicular, parallel, and perpendicular, 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 and parallel. Then we have perpendicular here, parallel, and perpendicular. Parallel is right here, perpendicular is right here, parallel is right here. Then we have this one is the horizontal constraint. And I'm gonna finish my sketch. And you're gonna save it as file, save as 1.3.3 constraining a sketch part 2.